much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stephen McCall, and I will be your MC for the evening. I am an Altadena Historical Society board member, and in that regard, I'd like to acknowledge my fellow board members and volunteers who've helped to put this evening together tonight. So let's give them a nice round of applause. Thank you very much. Also, I'd like to let you know that our local esteemed author, Michelle Zach, is in residence in the audience here tonight. Her book, Altadena, Between Wilderness and the City, is back in the back. Veronica is holding it up. It's already been signed. And in that regard, I'd like to acknowledge Veronica for her unwavering effort in getting the book republished. So let's give. All right, and then finally, before we get to the introduction of Mr. Ayers, many of you have probably been here before, and you realize that the bathrooms are in the foyer near the exit. Okay, all the preliminaries out of the way. It's my great honor to introduce our speaker tonight, Mr. Paul Ayers. Yes, please. Okay. Paul is a fourth-generation Southern Californian, a descendant of Ventura County pioneer family. After receiving his history degree from UC Berkeley, Paul worked in the entertainment industry as a prop maker, project manager, and stage manager. As if that wasn't enough, in his late 30s, Paul decided to go to law school, and working in the studios by day and going to school at night. He graduated and passed the bar and was sworn in on his 40th birthday. As an attorney, he specialized in a diverse practice, areas such as boundary disputes, sexual harassment, onboard aviation torts, public access cases, and death care torts. That is a diverse practice. He retired from practice in 2020 and is known around Altadena for his trail, not trial, but trail advocacy and legal work on behalf of public access, especially regarding the Owen Brown gravesite. And I might add parenthetically that the National Park Service recently added the Owen Brown gravesite to the Network of Freedom, which consists of more than 700 locations that honor the fight to end slavery. Throughout his life, regardless of his occupation, Paul has always had a deep and abiding interest in the history of Southern California. His primary research fields include silent movie locations, 19th century roads and trails, and the Pacific Electric and Mount Low railways. If you've had an opportunity to see any of Paul's postings pop up on your Facebook page, it's always a delightful education. One of my favorites recently is a photo of a Pacific Electric car, number 370, at the corner of Lake and Mariposa, paused in the snow, January 15, 1932. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Look for it. This is Paul's fourth Altadena Historical Society presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Paul Ayers.
Hi, everybody. Okay, let's see. How are we going to do this? You want to see me freehand it? Yeah. Let's get rid of all this stuff. Okay, this is a weird one for me because usually I'm talking about stuff that happened a long time ago. You want to kill the lights in the back? For many of you in the audience, this is a very fresh event that caused you a lot of grief and pain, and I want to acknowledge that and respect that at the top of the show. The show is going to have three parts. The first one's going to be about fire in Altadena in the past. The second's going to be about the events of January 7th and 8th, 2025. And the last one is going to be about significant structures that were lost and those that remain. Okay. Hopefully I'll be able to two-hand this on, Okay, so the fires of the past. When the Midwesterners came to the Altadena-Pasadena area, they didn't really know what wildfires were. Actually, a lot of times they were kind of celebrated as an event that could be like fireworks. They thought it was really cool, because it's up there, it's not down here. As a matter of fact, they would make postcards like this. This is Sister Elsie fire of the 1890s. It was called Sister Elsie because of that peak right there, which is now called Mount Lukens. But this photograph really illustrates how little they knew about fire, because this is probably in the Arroyo Seco watershed or the Millard watershed. And these people are this is a Mount Strain on Mount Wilson, and these people are just looking at it. Now, the wind is, as you can tell from the flag, is not really doing a whole lot, but that could change really fast. And the only way out of Mount Strain was down the 7-foot wide Mount Wilson Trail. So these people didn't know at all what wildfires could do. In 1924, there was a series of fires in the San Gabriels, and that was the beginning of the understanding that something had to be done about wildfires because they had a significant effect on what happened in the flats. Because when the fire burned off the cover, then there were floods into free flows down in the flats. And so that was the beginning of the Forest Service attempting to create roads and also fire suppression teams. In the middle 1930s, there was, a series of fires in the front above Altadena. As you can see, all of them stayed within the perimeter of the forest front. The last one, the 35 fire, started in Rubio Canyon as a result of a downed SCE line. Oh, wow. The Lord giveth, SCE taketh away. It burned classically the whole front. So this is what it looked like from just below Loma Alta Park. You can tell it's 1935 because the Sam Merrill's just been put in right there. This fire burned the Lavinia Sanitarium, and this is in two ways. This fire kind of personifies what happened up until 2025, which is it would burn down to the edge of Altadena, but if you were up in the hills, it would burn you out. Jumping forward to 93, the Kineola fire, again, it came down close, burned off the Cobb Estate, and it burned up on St. Gray Trail, but it didn't get down into the perimeter of Altadena. Same with the Station fire in 2009. It burned over a lot. This is a big acre fire. Burned the entire Arroyo Seco watershed and came very close to jumping into the meadows. That's the fire burning up on Little Round Top. But it was stopped from coming into the meadows by retardant drops. Isn't that great? I love that picture. That's a great picture. But through all these fire events, it never got down beyond the front. If you were up in here, even in Lavinia got some burning in 2009. Excuse me, I'm gonna have to drink a little bit of water here. Excuse me. And up until 2025, oh, wrong way. The core of Altadena remained safe. That changed on January 7th and 8th, 2025. The primary cause of the fire, or actually the thing that made it so destructive, was Santa Ana winds, but that's not the whole story, because Santa Ana winds have been going on since there has been California coming up out of the sea. The high pressure builds over the Great Basin, drops over the Mojave Desert, picks up really, really hot, dry air, and then flows towards the ocean, low pressure through the mountain passes. What made this one different is carried in the after action report. The unprecedented strength of Santa Ana winds, and let this sink into you, 90 miles an hour in the foothills, 65 miles an hour in Altadena. The winds were so severe that the aircraft couldn't take off, and that there was a widespread dispersal of embercast. So you have conditions here, and what you need, you could have still dodged the bullet, but there was ignition. So the best explanation of what happened here is just west of Eaton Canyon, a de-energized line on the Sylmar line was energized by something on the Gould Mesa line, and ignition occurred. The exact mechanics of that are not really clear at this time, but I can tell you, having worked as an attorney, as a young attorney for SCE, the power of electricity at that voltage is really incredible if it's seeking ground. And somewhere, somehow, the voltage sought ground and caused that fire at 6:18 on the 7th. For a while, it looked like Altadena was going to dodge the bullet again. The fire spread to the south and east and actually started heading towards Sierra Madre, staying to the east of Eaton Canyon. But then in the early morning of the 8th, the winds shifted and embercast started flying westward into Altadena and creating a hopscotch of fires. You can see from this picture just how intense the winds were, bending over the palm trees and just causing a holocaust throughout Altadena. By the morning, it had reached the business area of Lake, place I used to stop and get yummies at Easy, taking out foxes, and in the morning, just devastation. Now, when I talk about what was lost, excuse me, honestly, I can't, right? This is like saying, 16,000 men died at Gettysburg, and I remember the generals that were shot, okay? It's not like that. Too much grief, too much loss. You can just see it here. Every one of those patches, and this is, now because it's been cleared because of the clearing, has a story and has a loss. It's not possible. I tell people that history is generally written a generation after the event. And so, typically speaking, history of this can't be written right now because we don't know enough. But history is also a quilt, and you add to it everything we do when we do these presentations or we write a book or whatever that we do, adds to a sense of knowledge of what happened. And what I can do today is just talk a little bit about the structures, the important structures of Altadena that were lost. I start with the community church. When I would come to Altadena, and I came to Altadena, even though I didn't live here in Altadena, I would come here probably 3 or 4 times a week. I always stopped to look at this church. I love this church, right? The massing of it is marvelous. And so finally, in 2014, I said, I got the photograph. This is my photograph of it, with the clouds dropping over it, and I just loved it. I loved it so much. And of course, like any church, it was a place of people. People make a church. Its passing was spectacular. I mean, in 25, 50 years, this is going to be one of the pictures that they use. This one as well, which is a very well-known picture of it, leaving this ruin. In a way, I wish they would leave the ruin because it was emblematic, but like many things now, it's gone, bulldozed. The McNally house is probably the most well-known of the houses or the structures that was lost. Built in 1887, back when Altadena was, in a certain way, a gathering of millionaires. These people were so rich that they built themselves a railroad so that they could bring their private cars up to their houses. Everybody know who McNally was? He made his money in maps, Rand McNally. Wonderful gardens. And of course, you have it as in the backdrop, you have the whole white city of the Mount Lowell Railway. And this has got to be between 1895 and 1900 when the Echo Mountain House burned. And that, of course, the story is burning up in the mountains at any rate. Beautiful house. So beautiful that it became a series of postcards. This is the entrance to the McNally Ranch House. Ranch house, right? They didn't call it a cabin at any rate, but you know, this is better. It's a private residence. And it had this wonderful room, and I mean, you know, it had plenty of wonderful rooms, but the Turkish room was beyond beautiful. I snuck into the grounds and took this picture in 2012, back when it wasn't really open that much. I just wanted to get a picture of it because, you know, I'd never been in it. I never will. It was like this wonderful little thing left. The area around it used to be part of the estate. It was sold off in 25, something called the Deodar Estates. The library over here. In the wee hours of the 8th, it lost. And that's what was left. And now again, it's just been bulldozed. The commercial strip up at Altadena and Lake, this is a picture of it in 25. Right after it opened is a Safeway store. And this was a firehouse right here. When it was open, this is the line to the Mount Low line for the Pacific Electric going up to Echo Mount, or up to Rubio. Another picture of it. I took this picture. I used to go around Altadena and do comparison shots a lot in the mid part of the last decade, and it was so close. I mean, you know, it still was exactly the same, and it burned out. I think this is the pizza oven right here, and leaving this truncated little bit. I'm not sure what it's going to be. It might be something interesting. Again, this is the old firehouse here. The William Davies building, a really, really, really wonderful building. A mixture of shingle and native stone, built as a WPA project. Originally, it just had picnic tables around the back, and then subsequently, they built essentially a little theater, which was a great place for people to get together, to have groups, to have meetings. And now all that's left is the stone fireplaces.
Did those get bulldozed?
Not yet. This is what it looks from the air. St. Mark's Episcopal Church on Altadena. Typical Episcopal church with a red door. Caught fire early in the morning of the 8th. Was soon completely involved. This is a really involved structure fire. and the school was lost as well, which was an old house. Inspiration Point was from the very beginning of the Mount Lowell Railway, a place that you could view down towards Echo Mountain. This is in late 1890s. There's the Echo Mountain house there. They made a temporary shelter originally up there, but then the Pacific Electric in the mid-20s put in this shelter. This was the view at night. The shelter fell apart pretty much and then was removed. It looked like this in '92. Then a group decided to rebuild it in '96. This is Mount Low volunteers. These are people just coming up here to work on this. We did a postcard. That's me right there. I was trying to think of how I'm not going to hurt myself. My sister-in-law, Patty Knoll, designed it. Say hi, Patty. Wave your hand. designed the program for the reopening. People came up there. It was a wonderful place for people that hiked to come there. And then we would go there in the snow. Yeah, nice, huh? And then you come there to be inspired. And it dodged the bullet in 2009. It really looked like it was going to get burned out in the station fire, but it didn't. But its luck ran out this time. And so we're back to where we were in '92. And there's talk that it's going to get rebuilt, but the forest has to be reopened first. Now, obviously, I haven't hit everything that got lost. This is just the beginning. This is the list. You can look on it. There's the Bunny Museum. I can think of the Zane Grey Estate, Rancho Bar, right? And what's the other? Yeah, and the Scripps House. I mean, they're all there. This is the LA Conservancy's list. I think there's longer lists than this, but significant losses. So what remains? Pacific Electric Railway Company substation number 8. They direct a direct link to the Pacific Electric's Mount Low line and its line in Altadena. Very narrowly dodged the bullet. This is it. All across the street, Elliott was burning. I was looking at this and going, don't burn, don't burn, don't burn. And that's that's Governor Newsom right there. He was just at Elliott, now he's going someplace else. Now that's a picture. I love this picture. Don't you love this picture? I love this picture. That's a hell of a picture. That's an Edsel right there. This is probably 1960. Right around 1960, right when Charles Symes was in Elliott and watching them blow up the Echo Mountain ruins. That's where he saw them doing it, and then he hiked up and said, "Oh, those sons of bitches." It was one of the last structures to burn. This is like almost mid-morning on the 8th. Governor Newsom was over here at the time. I think that's Governor Newsom right there. You can see there's a lot of news people there, right? So it's late in the day. This is the auditorium. Actually, I was supposed to do a talk at the auditorium in 2024. It didn't work out. And then they said, well, let's do it some other time. Well, it's going to be a while, I think. I took this picture yesterday. You can kind of line it up, see, because you can see all these. These are all the projection holes, right? And there's the projection holes here. But hopefully it'll be reopened soon. I don't know when, but hopefully soon. The Ballion House. Now, they're not doing the Christmas anymore. But The house is still there. And, you know, that's a big thing. It's a big thing to me. This was on January 8th, and I was watching it going, holy shit, here's smoke, and it made it. And that is something to be happy about. El Patron. Yeah, let's hear it for El Patron, huh? Right on, El Patron. El Patron was built as a junior coffee shop. I guess that means it's not a senior coffee shop, it's a junior coffee shop. There you go. And so, and then this is what it looked like in the 60s, mid-60s. On January 8th, we were all kind of holding our breath to see what was going to happen, but it made it, and it stays there. And now, you know, it makes me really happy because I've had some really good times there. And you can tell, I always tell people, when you put on the red sombrero, all bets are off. Oh, shit. All right, Owen Brown gravestone. You know, the Owen Brown's gravestone, as we are here, is going to do nothing but increase in importance in our community and in our nation, especially considering what we're going through right now in terms of attempts to wipe out history, important history. So the fact that now we have this next thing happening with the gravesite is very, very important and something that we should support. This was in 2004 when we reestablished access to the gravesite. Then this is putting the gravestone back in its position. And then this was MLK Day 2024. But I urge people who haven't been there to go there. It's a great place. It's a great place to think about what happened with John Brown and Owen Brown. Mariposa Junction. Mariposa Junction, to me, is the heart of Altadena. So many things happened there, not to mention the fact that the Mount Low Railway turned onto Mariposa there. We had the Dinky over here. It was just a place where the community lived. And it's funny, I took a walk last night and I looked at the back of it and you can see Altadena on the back of it. It's really very cool. That's the thing Stephen was talking about. There you go. I actually knew that guy's name, but I can't remember it now. But it's interesting also what the different things were in the junction. This is it in about 49. You typically get pictures of snow in them. You know, people want to take snow, so they go up on top of the place and take snow. So this looks like 49. This is in the mid-70s. Always interesting to see what was there. Bulldog security systems, right? Christian Science Reading Room, that's a different one, right? Appliances with Zenith, right? That's looks like a Toyota or Datsun pickup truck with a utility bed on it, and of course Webster's, when it was still Webster's. I took this picture in 2014, again, trying to match up Pacific Electric images. Took a picture of the Woodbury building at the same time. When I saw this on television, I knew that this was beyond. I mean, it was beyond when I saw that, when the hardware burned. That's the Woodbury building the next day. A symbol of Altadena. And then, but what the good news was is that this end survived, even though everything up here is gone. And then we had the reopening in November, which is really, really great. And last night I walked by Betsy's. My wife says, you can't get into Betsy's. I said, why can't you get into Betsy's? She says, you can't get a reservation at Betsy's. And I can see why. It looks like a really good place. Christmas Tree Lane. Christmas Tree Lane, in essence, goes from the beginning of Altadena to now. In 1885, the Woodbury brothers planted these deodars. It had been that one of the Woodburys was going to live at the end of, this was going to be his driveway, right? So that didn't work out. He never built that house, but he did plant the deodars. And of course, things being what they were, even before there was a Christmas tree lane, people made postcards of them and drove their really nice fancy cars. But in the 20s, a man named Nash decided that this would be a really cool thing and make a bunch of big Christmas trees out of these. This is probably the mid-30s. This is from the 50s. I love these people, you know. They were on dates. The guys are wearing leather, which I really like, you know. And the women have the skirts below the knee. Love that, right? I loved Christmas Tree Lane. I took these pictures in, I think, 2018. It was always just the most wonderful place in the world. When I saw that this is a picture of the lane before the fire. But when I saw this picture, I said, the lane is okay. It's still there. Everything on the sides of it had burned up. But then this year, it reopened, or it opened. It didn't reopen, it opened. And its magic was back. And I'm going to close it out with just the beauty of these postcards that in a way take you all the way to the beginning of Altadena and all the way to the present as a vision of real beauty. And that's what these postcards are trying to convey, the beauty of the mountains and of the deodars and of the lights of Christmas. And that's the end. Thank you. Can we get the lights? Somebody hit those lights, otherwise we're all going to be stumbling around. There you go. There you go, Stephen.
Thank you so much, Paul. That was amazing. Ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so we're going to take some questions from the audience right here in front.
I'm from Montrose, so forgive me for not knowing, but where do you find that gravestone?
You go to the top of El Prieto Road. No, it's okay. I'll project. You go to the top of El Prieto Road in the Meadows district of Altadena, and there's a cul-de-sac, and you just walk, and you will find it. There are signs.
There's a sign now.
Michelle Zach, everybody.
About 2 months ago, the county finally put up a place wayfinding sign. So at the top of El Prieto, you'll see it. So easy to find.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. Other questions? Yes, sir.
In one of your earlier slides you had it showed the mountains behind, but it looks like there's all this vineyards right in front of it. Looks, what was it, like 1924, 25, or even earlier?
I know it's a mid-30s photograph. There were vineyards here. They were very, very small. Most of the bigger vineyards were east under Sierra Madre. I'm sorry. I will stand.
Give the back.
Yeah, just give me the darn thing back. Give me the thing back. The question was, were there vineyards in Altadena? Essentially, that's the question. There were some, right? I think there's some now, aren't there? I don't know. But most of the bigger vineyards were under Sierra Madre, at least in this area. Anybody else? We're just going to pass this around.
Here we go. Okay. Coming to you.
I'd like to know if there's any more information about that fire in Rubio in 1935 available anywhere.
Yeah. If you go to the Huntington Library got, and I don't know how they got it, but they got all of SCE's. Oh. Okay. The Huntington Library got all of SCE's photographs when SCE, it's a long story, I won't bore you with it, but basically a guy named Ayers ran the archives for Southern California Edison, and he arranged to have them donated to the Huntington. If you search Rubio Canyon, you will get the pictures because they send out their own photographer, a guy named Havens, makes beautiful photographs. And he took pictures of everything. And so in that series right there, you will find actually the picture of the cable that failed and caused the fire in Rubio. And you will see cables coming down, you know. I mean, different time, obviously. I mean, back at the fascinating case called the Cruismart case, where a man walking up Echo Mountain encountered a down SCE line and it burned off both his arms. And he didn't get anything because the argument was it was his own fault for touching the down line. That's capitalism at its best, right? So, anybody else? Back in the back. Hi, Jim.
Talk about Ivy Street.
About what?
And the modern houses that, Ivy Street.
Yeah, they're gone.
There's some left.
Well, okay. Well, I can't because I'm not an architectural historian. The problem with doing this kind of show is I just got to pick what I pick, you know, and I could be here for 2 hours and bore you silly. And that's what it is. I've been doing shows like this for, you know, God, since 2005. And I have found that this is about the length you can hold an audience right now. Yeah, back in the back. Where? Who? Oh, okay, I'm coming to you. Hi. You can take it.
Okay.
Or you can just tell me.
Okay, I know you're not in the architecture
Yeah.
history, but I was wondering if you knew who the architect was for the school, Elliott, and also for the McNally.
Yeah, I had the question is, do I know who the architects were for the McNally house and for the Elliott house, or for the Elliott building? Yes, I do know who they are. I don't have them in my head. And when I did the show, oh, okay, there you go. Okay, all right. I can also tell you that Dr. Google is your friend, and they're easily, you can find out a lot about any of these structures just by doing a little bit of easy searching. But yeah, okay. Back in the back. You, there. Oh, okay, hi. Yeah, you, why not?
So, I mean, I can just be loud too, but I was gonna say, you said you had to edit down, you know, there's so many things you
Right.
talk about for like 2 hours. Is there anything that you had to whittle down that you
Yes.
left out that you would share with us right
Scripts. I would have done scripts. I would have done Zane Grey.
now?
The Jane cottages. I was on the board of Altadena Heritage when we did the Jane cottages, and it was just too much. And also, there's many of them, and some of them burned and some of them didn't. But the two that I did cut was Scripps and Zane Grey. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Tim.
I just wanted to mention that in our soil resources survey we did years ago, we found there were 13.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's going to tell you about Altadena Reveal.
Yeah, I spoke about all this in August. I just wanted to mention that although there were a lot more that are eligible, we did have 13 structures that were on the National Register of Historic Places. And because of the fire, we've lost half of them. And we had about 3,000 properties that had some kind of historical significance that were on the survey. And I don't know how many of those, but many of them were West Altadena, so I'm sure there must be at least 1,000 that have disappeared.
Tell them about the Altadena Reveal lecture.
Oh, well, in August, I did a lecture on Altadena and what was lost. and I did a PowerPoint. So those houses that were lost, I did in black and white. Those that survived, I put in color so you could see which ones are lost. And even as Paul said, just stretching the surface.
Yeah, and it's all the Altadena Revealed shows are on YouTube. So if you want to learn about a lot of different things about Altadena since the fire, that's a very good resource.
Including one when is it, the 30th? When's your last one? 30th.
We'll get to that. Yes. You can take it.
Thank you for your presentation. I wanted to ask you if you could tell us a bit more about Abbot Kinney or Theodore Lincoln, some of the earliest SoCal conservationists.
Well, Abbot Kennedy was a real pervert. No, I'm not going to say that. No, I really can't. You know, I mean, I could just, you know, spin it, but I can tell you that Lukens was you know, very important in the forestry, the forest. I can tell you that Abbot Kinney was a developer that developed Venice and also developed the Kinneola Mesa. But in terms of you know, deeper than that, you know, I tell people, give me some time, I'll talk about anything, you know, but I can't really tell you about that. Anybody else? Back in the back.
I had seen on one of the Facebook sites that, and by the way, first, thank you.
Oh, no problem.
That somebody was trying to study and asking for the community's help so that we can know how fast, or not how fast, but how the fire spread. I know where I was. I lived at Raymond and Mendocino.
Right.
I was there when my home burned.
Right.
It was about 6:35 in the morning. And I believe this lady's name was Courtney Loudon.
Is Courtney here today?
Yeah.
There she is. Hi, Courtney.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
But I haven't seen any of your research yet, and I know that people have responded to you, but I'll ask people, where did you live, and were you there? And
I can give you, I can respond. The question was, is there any good resource for determining?
Including the authorities.
Right, exactly. There is, you know, one of the things about doing history this quick is there is always going to be some people that are going to say, well, that's not what happened, or that was not my experience, and so it becomes controversial. There is, though, a after incident report that was done on the Palisades and Eaton Fire by the order of the governor, and it's really detailed. And I have let's see if I can find it here without, it's called the Southern California Fires Timeline Report. It was done by Kerber, Derek Colness, Gotham. It's done by the UL Research, what is it called, the Unilab Research Laboratory, yeah. And it's detailed. I mean, it's like, you know, hour by hour, and with maps. The photograph I had on, the map I had showing the Santa Ana winds, that came from that report. So, you know, like I say, when it's this fresh, there's always going to be a little bit of controversy about what happened. I've seen controversy about where the fire originated or how the fire originated. But as far as I can tell, it's the best thing I've seen. Anything else? Yeah.
Just the Southern California, what is it?
Well, if I could show you, it's right here. Anybody who wants to come up and take a look at it after the show, I'll just leave it up here and you can take a look at it. Yeah, just take a picture of it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Back in the back.
What inspired your interest or love of Altadena?
Now that's a good question. Finally.
Good question.
It's a good, well, it's a trick question, true. I was a litigating attorney, and if you're a litigating attorney, you live your life without conclusion for maybe periods of years while you're fighting, and you have to get back into something basic that you can accomplish in a day or an afternoon. And that's what the mountains were for me. So I started out working with the Mount Low, Scenic Mount Low Historical Society, and then I sued a guy over land use access over in Rubio Canyon, and as part of the deal, they gave me 5 years of control over the trails. So I became the trail boss in Rubio Canyon from 2009 to 2015. So that was really hot shit. And then, you know, I mean, I love being outside. And it's funny, you know, I don't know, most of you don't know, I don't know if you know this or not, but I've moved up to the Bay Area because that's where my family is. And I've got a place I go there now, you know. And getting ready to do shows up there. So, you know, till they put me in the ground. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Take that thing.
Just a warning, I think, about when you do research. Just the other day, somebody told me, I was on Facebook and they were talking about Christmas Tree Lane. And this young guy, he looked like he was about 18, he said, well, you know, all of those houses alongside Christmas Tree Lane, they're all AI generated. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, what the heck? I mean, and then somebody else a few months ago posted on AI saying the name of Lamanda Park is a Spanish name, and it went on with this stuff. So be really careful about AI because they lie.
Well, it's my profession. Anybody else? We all done? Last in, last out? Good night, folks. Thanks very much for coming. Thank you.